How did the Be Kind talk show host end up at the center of one of the biggest TV controversies of the decade?
Told from the very beginning, don't talk to Ellen, don't do this, you can't, go into her office. We all walked on eggshells all the time.
Staff members later described the atmosphere by saying they constantly felt like they were walking on eggshells. Not long ago, quiet rumors began circulating online, suggesting that Ellen DeGeneres might not be as cheerful behind the scenes as she seemed on television. At first, it seemed like ordinary internet chatter, the kind that usually appears for a moment and quickly disappears. But this time, the discussion kept growing louder until it eventually turned into a massive online storm nobody really saw coming. Little by little, the carefully crafted image of TV's kindest host began to fracture. By March 2020, the entire conversation around her had shifted dramatically. What once looked like admiration was now mixed with suspicion, as viewers began wondering what the environment behind the bright studio lights of the Ellen DeGeneres show was actually like. Then one viral Twitter thread grabbed the internet's attention and refused to let go. The spark that ignited everything came from comedy writer Kevin T. Porter. He shared a tweet promising to donate $2 to a Los Angeles food bank for every story people posted describing alleged negative experiences involving the talk show host. That single tweet immediately lit a fuse online, and within moments, the internet erupted with replies. Stories came pouring in from all directions, stacking up minute by minute as thousands of users joined the thread. Some people even joked that Porter's bank account must have been sweating by the end of the day, considering how many responses kept flooding in. What began as a single tweet turned into one of the most talked about social media threads of the moment. Within hours, the situation had gone completely viral. Social media timelines filled up with screenshots, reactions, and heated debates. The noise became impossible to ignore, and people everywhere were glued to their screens watching the situation unfold in real time. One story that caught significant attention claimed that a newly hired staff member had received a strange warning about the workplace environment. According to the story, there was supposedly a daily target inside the office, meaning one person would become the focus of tension or criticism that day. The advice reportedly given to the new employee sounded blunt and unsettling. The person was repeatedly told, "It's not personal. Just deal with it for the day and tomorrow it'll be someone else." That statement alone made many people raise their eyebrows and start asking questions about what the real workplace atmosphere may have looked like behind the camera. If the account was accurate, it suggested a work environment that felt tense and unpredictable. Social media picked up that detail and pushed it forward at full speed. Soon afterward, additional claims began stacking on top of the earlier ones. Some employees alleged that staff members could even be sent home if they tried speaking without chewing gum because of an alleged sensitivity to smells. The rumor sounded strange to a lot of people, but that only caused the internet to react even more intensely. Social media timelines filled with debates about which stories might be exaggerated gossip and which ones might actually be true. Around the same time, someone claiming to have worked as a server at the Los Angeles restaurant Real Food Daily shared a personal story about an encounter with the celebrity. The server claimed that a complaint had been made about the condition of her nail polish and that it nearly caused her to lose her job. That single detail spread across social media at incredible speed and added another layer to the growing controversy. About a year later, Porter spoke with Metro about how everything unfolded. He admitted that he once believed Ellen's reputation was practically untouchable. He said, "I always thought she was kind of bulletproof." While acknowledging the backlash that followed the viral thread, Porter described the entire situation as difficult and unpleasant to watch unfold. Soon afterward, even producers connected to the show began speaking publicly about their own experiences, including one who shared their perspective with Inside Edition. That development pushed the controversy even further into the spotlight and made it clear that the story was not going away anytime soon. What had begun as scattered tweets and internet jokes suddenly evolved into a serious public scandal. The tone across the internet changed almost instantly. People stopped laughing at the drama and started paying close attention as more details continued to emerge. Many of the early anti Ellen style posts were initially dismissed as rumors or secondhand stories, but once the conversation shifted toward workplace complaints tied directly to the daytime show, the situation began to feel far more serious. This time, the claims were reportedly coming from inside the workplace itself. That alone gave the conversation much more credibility in the eyes of the public. Suddenly, the spotlight was no longer focused on the internet gossip, but on the internal culture surrounding the show. During the early months of the pandemic, several employees alleged they were left completely in the dark by leadership regarding what was happening with their jobs. According to reporting from Variety, some staff members said they received little to no clear communication about pay schedules or job security during the first lockdown period. Reports suggested that roughly 30 crew members were left without reliable updates during those uncertain weeks. That detail alone sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and had insiders talking everywhere. Then the situation escalated once again when employees discovered the show had reportedly hired a production company outside their union so Ellen could continue filming episodes from her California home. That move sparked even more outrage online and changed the way many viewers viewed the entire situation. The timing only made the controversy louder. Just 1 week earlier, Ellen had publicly said the reason she returned to work during such a chaotic moment was because she cared deeply about the crew working behind the scenes. Once the report surfaced, that statement began circulating again across social media, but now with a very different tone. By July 2020, the situation intensified even further. Several current and former staff members speaking anonymously stepped forward with stronger complaints about their experiences working on the daytime show. At that point, the conversation shifted completely. What once looked like internet gossip was suddenly being treated as a serious workplace controversy with real consequences. One employee claimed they felt pressure to resign after experiencing racism in the workplace. Another said they were dismissed after taking time away to deal with a family bereavement. Those allegations struck social media like a thunderclap and triggered another massive wave of online debate. Even though Ellen herself was not directly accused of carrying out those specific actions, many people argued that leadership still holds responsibility when your name is attached to the brand. One former staff member told BuzzFeed News if she wants to have her own show and have her name on the show title, she needs to be more involved to see what's going on. That quote spread across the internet almost immediately. The pressure continued building hour by hour. Soon afterward, 3 producers connected to the show released an official statement responding to the accusations. In their message, they said, "We take all of this very seriously, and we realize as many in the world are learning that we need to do better, are committed to do better, and we will do better." The statement was clearly intended to calm the situation. Instead, it kept the spotlight fixed directly on the show. As the controversy refused to disappear, eventually the noise became impossible to ignore and an internal investigation was launched into the workplace culture surrounding the program. However, reports suggested the findings only uncovered even more troubling behavior happening behind the scenes. Not long afterward, 3 executive producers stepped away from the show following allegations involving sexual harassment and intimidating conduct. That development sent a strong signal that leadership could not simply brush the situation aside and pretend nothing had happened. A message was later sent to staff by David McGuire, the executive vice president of programming at Warner Brothers. In the email, he wrote, "Many of you have spoken with Warner Media's investigators, and we thank you for your honesty. I hope this note is another way we are showing our commitment to do better." That message quickly spread throughout the entertainment industry and raised expectations that significant changes were coming. Eventually, Ellen released her own apology addressing the controversy, but when the statement appeared, reactions were mixed. Some viewers felt the message did not fully address the issues being discussed, while others believed it was at least a step toward accountability. Instead of closing the chapter, the fallout continued stretching on. The storm surrounding Ellen's career refused to fade, and the conversation remained loud across social media. As the toxic workplace controversy hovered over her reputation like a dark cloud, celebrities began joining the discussion. Some rushed forward to defend her, while others did the exact opposite and amplified the criticism. One of the most vocal responses came from Brand Garrett, known for starring in Everybody Loves Raymond. He publicly supported the growing belief that Ellen's famous "Be Kind" message did not match what some people claimed was happening behind the scenes. Garrett wrote online, "Sorry, but it comes from the top," and suggested it was widely known that more than one person had been treated badly. That comment struck social media like a shockwave and sparked another heated debate almost instantly. Actress Leah Thompson entered the discussion and supported that criticism with a short but impactful tweet. She simply wrote, "True story." Even though the message was only 2 words long, it carried significant weight online and pushed the debate even further into the spotlight. By that point, the conversation surrounding Ellen DeGeneres and the workplace culture connected to the Ellen DeGeneres show had completely dominated social media timelines. Each new reaction from celebrities brought even more attention, and the pressure continued building with no indication it would slow down. Several months after the controversy first erupted, Ellen finally spoke about the situation publicly. Viewers were glued to their screens, waiting to see how she would respond. But when the moment arrived, the public reaction did not unfold the way many people expected. During a September 2020 episode of her talk show, Ellen opened her monologue by casually asking the audience about their summer as if everything was normal. Gradually, she shifted the conversation toward the events that had been unfolding around her. That's when she delivered the line that immediately set social media on fire. She told the audience, "Let me give you some advice out there. If anybody's thinking of changing their title or giving yourself a nickname, do not go with the 'Be Kind' lady. Don't do it." The moment that sentence aired, timelines exploded with reactions. Many viewers quickly began debating whether the joke carried the right tone for such a serious controversy. Former employees who had previously spoken about their experiences also joined the online conversation. Some critics argued that the joke made the situation seem smaller than it really was. Others felt it sounded less like accountability and more like redirecting the attention back onto herself. Instead of easing the situation, the tension only continued to grow louder. Over the next 6 months, the fallout began appearing in the place television fears most: the ratings. Reports suggested the show lost more than 1 million viewers during that period. The once dominant daytime program suddenly found itself falling behind competitors like Live with Kelly and Ryan and Dr. Phil. That shift immediately caught the industry's attention. For years, the show had seemed almost untouchable, but now it suddenly looked vulnerable, and people across the television business were watching closely. The financial numbers reflected a similar pattern. Advertising revenue reportedly dropped from about $131 million down to roughly $15 million. A decline of that size does not go unnoticed in network television. When money at that level begins shrinking, sponsors and executives start asking difficult questions. The financial pressure added even more strain to an already tense situation behind the scenes, and eventually the future of the show became impossible to ignore. By May 2021, the decision was finally confirmed. Ellen announced that the long-running daytime series would be coming to an end. Speaking with The Hollywood Reporter, she explained that the original plan has been to stop after season 16. According to Ellen, the network had pushed for 4 additional years of the program. She said she agreed to consider only one more season, and eventually they reached a compromise that extended it for 3 years. Ellen insisted that the controversy surrounding the workplace culture had nothing to do with her decision, but many viewers were not entirely convinced and continued questioning the timing. She admitted that the final episode would be emotional after so many years on daytime television. But behind the scenes, other projects connected to her name were also beginning to fade away. After nearly 20 years as one of the most recognizable figures in daytime television, along with several additional years appearing in primetime, Ellen began fading from network schedules faster than many viewers expected. Just before her daytime talk show came to an end, reports surfaced revealing that another project connected to her name was also being shut down. Her primetime competition series, Ellen's Game of Games, was quietly canceled after running for 4 seasons. The program first debuted on NBC in 2017 and centered around outrageous and high-energy challenges inspired by popular segments from her daytime talk show. Contestants competed in unpredictable games for the chance to win as much as $100,000, and the series delivered a lively and chaotic energy to primetime television. But despite that excitement, the momentum was not enough to keep the show alive indefinitely. According to reporting from The Hollywood Reporter, the ratings had been steadily declining, particularly during the 2020 and 2021 television season. That drop signaled that audience interest was beginning to cool rapidly. Eventually, the network made a scheduling decision that moved the program to a Sunday night time slot. That change ended up making the situation even more difficult. The new time slot lowered the show's visibility and made it harder for casual viewers to continue following it week after week. The momentum faded quickly, and before long, the game show vanished from television as well. After almost 2 decades dominating daytime TV and several ventures in primetime, Ellen suddenly found herself off the air entirely. For some viewers, the moment felt strangely symbolic. One moment she had seemed to be everywhere on television, and the next it felt as though the spotlight had shifted elsewhere. The transition happened almost as quickly as contestants once dropped through trapdoors on her own game show. After the talk show officially concluded, Ellen stepped away from the public spotlight and maintained a noticeably low profile for some time. Later, she briefly returned to screens through a documentary special on the Discovery Channel titled Saving the Gorillas: Ellen's Next Adventure. The documentary highlighted her passion for wildlife conservation and revealed a calmer, more personal side of her life. It followed Ellen as she worked on projects focusing on protecting gorillas and supporting conservation initiatives. Even so, it was clear that her long era as a constant television presence had come to an end. The industry had moved forward, and daytime television was entering a new phase. Later on, Ellen attempted to return to her roots in stand-up comedy. However, similar to several other ventures associated with her name during the 2020s, things did not unfold smoothly. What was intended to feel like a farewell tour quickly turned confusing for fans. Plans began shifting behind the scenes, and several scheduled appearances suddenly vanished from the tour calendar. In July 2024, Ellen canceled 4 stops scheduled in Chicago, San Francisco, Seattle, and San Diego. There was no major announcement and no detailed explanation provided. The cancellations simply appeared, leaving ticket holders surprised and somewhat puzzled. The silence surrounding those changes sparked even more speculation across the internet. Even now, a full public explanation has never been given regarding why those specific shows were canceled. Soon after, a similar situation unfolded overseas. After relocating to the Cotswolds in the United Kingdom, Ellen announced a smaller local event series titled In Conversation. The concept was to host more intimate discussions with audiences in a stripped-down setting, but once again, the plan quietly collapsed before it ever truly began. The events were canceled before a single live appearance took place. Just like that, another project ended before it even had the chance to start, leaving people wondering what might have happened behind the scenes. Then came yet another attempt at a comeback with a 2024 comedy special on Netflix. Some viewers hoped the project would finally calm the criticism and help bring her back into a more positive spotlight, but the reaction did not unfold the way supporters expected. Once again, rather than feeling like a strong comeback, the special triggered another round of tough reviews. Critics were extremely direct in their responses. Variety described the special as painfully self-indulgent, and that phrase spread across social media almost immediately. Meanwhile, The Independent went even further, labeling the performance bizarre, unfunny, and self-pitying. Those headlines quickly influenced the tone of the online discussion and fueled another surge of reaction clips and commentary videos. Much of the criticisms focused on how Ellen addressed the toxic workplace controversy connected to the final years of her talk show. Many viewers felt she continued framing herself as the person most affected by the situation, rather than focusing on the concerns raised by employees. That perspective did not sit well with a large number of people. Instead of closing the discussion, the special seemed to reopen the entire debate all over again. Ellen made a major announcement regarding her future in comedy. She revealed that she was stepping away from stand up permanently and described it as a complete departure from the stage. She did not present the situation as a break or temporary pause. According to her, it was finished, entirely done. Interestingly, the response from critics was unexpectedly calm. Some reviewers even suggested that the decision might actually make sense after everything that had taken place. Instead of strong backlash, the reaction from many corners felt more like quiet acceptance. After years filled with drama, controversy, and constant headlines, people seemed ready to move forward. Now, I want to hear what you think. Was Ellen treated unfairly, or did the backlash reveal a side of the industry people had ignored for years? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video so more people can join the conversation. Stay tuned for more deep dives into influencer drama, media industry chaos, and the behind the scenes stories that rarely make the headlines. See you on the next one.